Welcome back to Table Talk. You know how this works.
We do a deep dive into whatever you guys are curious about.
Right. You send in those amazing topic ideas, and we hit the books, pick out the best stuff,
All the juicy details.
the good bits, just for you.
And this time,
We are tackling a request from someone who is ready to
learn poker.
play some poker, learn about poker,
Yes.
and so consider this like your crash course.
To the exciting world of poker.
Cards and chips.
Absolutely. It is exciting.
Yeah, it's so fun.
It's a world of strategy and psychology
Mm-hmm.
where knowing the rules is only the very first step.
It's true. It's so true.
You got to go beyond that.
And before we jump into all the details, I did want to share a fun fact.
Okay.
Did you know that the origins of poker are a bit of a mystery?
Oh, is that right?
I know, right?
I didn't know that.
Some say it started in ancient Persia.
Oh, wow.
Others say it started in France.
Okay.
Others say it started in Germany.
Interesting.
But it really took off in the U.S.
When was that?
In the 1800s, think like
Oh.
river boats and saloons.
Yeah.
Where all that imagery that we see.
Like the Wild West.
Yes.
Very cool.
But, wherever it began,
Yeah.
the core idea is always the same, right?
Win those chips.
Gotta win those chips. That's the goal.
Exactly. And you can do that a couple ways, right? You can have the best hand, or you can convince everybody that you have the best hand,
Ooh.
even if you don't.
The art of the bluff.
There it is.
See, we'll get to that.
You gotta save the good stuff.
But first, let's break down some basics.
Okay, that sounds good.
So you're sitting at a poker table, cards are dealt. What do you need to know?
So, even before we get to bluffing, I think it's super important to understand the hierarchy of poker hands.
Okay.
So, think of it like learning the alphabet before you can read and write.
Got it.
Like, you gotta know those letters.
You gotta know the basics.
You gotta know the basics before you can do anything else.
Okay, so what is like at the top of this alphabet?
So the most powerful hand.
The top dog.
The top dog is the royal flush.
Royal flush, what does that mean?
So that's going to be ace, king, queen, jack, 10, all of the same suit.
Oh, I see.
That is pretty much unbeatable.
Wow. Okay, so if I see that, I'm good?
You are good to go.
Yes.
You are winning the hand.
Okay, so what's next?
So next up is a straight flush.
Okay.
That's going to be 5 cards in sequence, all the same suit.
5 cards in a row.
5 cards in a row, all the same suit.
Okay.
So for example, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all hearts.
Oh, got
Yeah.
it. That's a good hand.
Still really strong.
Still really strong.
Okay, what else should I be looking out for?
Okay, so then you got 4 of a kind, and that's exactly what it sounds like. 4 cards of the same rank.
4 of a kind, okay.
And then after that, you have a full house, which is going to be a combination of 3 of a kind in a pair.
Okay, so like 3 kings and 2 queens.
You got it.
Okay.
Something like that.
Then, let's say you don't have any matching ranks, but all of your cards are the same suit. That's going to be a flush, and that is a pretty strong hand.
So it matters the suit, even if they're not in order.
That's right. The suit does matter.
Interesting.
Then we have a straight, which is 5 cards in a row, but they can be different suits.
Okay, so like a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but like hearts, diamonds, clubs.
Exactly, precisely.
Oh, okay, cool.
And then, of course, you have your 3 of a kind, 2 pair, 1 pair. And then finally, if none of those apply,
So you got nothing.
you got nothing. It comes down to your high card.
So if everyone's just got a random mix, the ace of spades wins.
You got it.
Okay.
Got it.
So these hand rankings are important. I get it.
Yes.
It's super important,
Very important.
but it's only part of the story, right?
It's only part of the story. And this is where it gets really interesting.
Because poker's not just about the cards you're dealt. It's about how you play them.
Exactly. It's this dynamic game with multiple rounds of betting where you have a chance to raise the stakes, fold your hand, or outsmart your opponents.
Okay, so let's talk about those betting rounds. I always hear these terms like pre-flop and flop and turn and river.
It sounds so mysterious.
Sounds very mysterious.
Right. But it's actually pretty straightforward.
Okay.
So pre-flop is that very first round of betting after you receive your initial cards.
So you're making decisions based on those 2 cards.
The 2 cards you have.
Wow, intense.
Intense, that's right.
High stakes.
And then after that comes the flop, where the first 3 community cards are dealt face up on the table.
So now you have more information.
More information to work with.
What happens next?
So then comes the turn, and that's where that 4th community card is added to the table.
Okay.
And then finally we have the river, which is that 5th and final community card.
And there's betting rounds after each of these.
Exactly. So each round is giving you a chance to reassess your hand, consider what your opponents are doing, and decide if you're going to bet, raise, fold, or just check.
So many decisions.
So many decisions.
So it's not just about luck then.
No, not at all.
There's a lot of skill involved.
This is where skill comes in. Knowing when to bet, when to fold, when to bluff. That's where that skill comes in.
Okay, so now that we have like a very basic understanding of hands and betting, what about the different types of poker?
Yes.
Like, where should a beginner start?
So the most popular variation, the one that you see on TV, like the World Series of Poker,
Yes.
that is going to be Texas Hold'em.
Texas Hold'em, I knew it.
It's the one everybody knows.
So
So exciting.
Very exciting.
Okay, so what makes Texas Hold'em so special?
So in Texas Hold'em, you get 2 private cards, sometimes called hole cards,
Okay.
and then 5 community cards are dealt face up on the table
Right.
in stages. So those are those flop, turn, river rounds that we were talking about.
I see.
And the goal is to use any combination of your 2 hole cards and the 5 community cards to make the best possible 5-card hand.
Okay, got it. You following?
I'm following.
Okay, good.
So that brings us to the element of strategy. It's not just the cards in your hand. It's about,
Understanding the possibilities,
yeah,
calculating those odds,
oh my God.
anticipating your opponent's moves.
Right, you got to be thinking ahead.
You got to think ahead, and that's what makes it so much fun.
Yeah, I can see how that would get your brain working.
It does get your brain working, that's for sure.
But before we dive into strategy too deeply, because I think we need to save some of that for next time,
Yes.
I want to make sure we're clear on the different ways to play Texas Hold'em, because I've heard these terms like limit and no limit and pot limit.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
So those refer to the betting structure of the game.
Okay.
So limit hold'em, that's the most straightforward.
Okay.
The betting amounts are fixed.
So it's controlled.
It's controlled, yeah. So at each stage of the game, there is a predetermined amount that you can bet or raise.
So that seems less risky for like a beginner, right?
Yes, it's a little bit more controlled. And then you have no limit hold'em, and that's the opposite.
No limit. It sounds scary.
So you can bet any amount up to all your chips.
All your chips.
All your chips. So that's where you get those really dramatic swings and the huge wins and losses.
Wow, intense.
Very intense. And then somewhere in between those two, you have pot limit hold'em. So the maximum bet that you can make is limited to the size of the pot.
So the pot dictates your limit.
That's right. That's right.
Got it.
Exactly.
Okay, now you mentioned other types of poker.
Yes.
Have you heard of Omaha?
I have heard of Omaha.
It sounds a bit more complex.
It is a bit more complex than Texas Hold'em.
Okay.
But it's also incredibly fun.
Okay.
So in Omaha, you are dealt 4 hole cards instead of 2.
4.
4.
That's a lot
It is a lot.
to juggle.
It is a lot to juggle. And here's the catch.
Okay.
You have to use exactly 2 of your hole cards and 3 of the community cards to form your final hand.
So you can't just pick your best 5 out of all 7?
No, you can't.
Oh.
Which makes it a lot more...
That is tricky.
It is tricky. It's
Sort of Omaha high-low, where you have like a high hand winner and a low hand winner.
Right. So the pot is split between the best high hand and the best low hand.
Wow.
So you're kind of playing 2 games at once.
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
Okay, I'm definitely going to have to try that one.
Yeah, it's fun.
But before we move on, we have to talk about one of the most intriguing aspects of poker.
Yes. Bluffing.
Oh, bluffing, my favorite.
Yeah.
Yes, this is what takes poker from being just a card game to a game of psychology of deception.
It's all about that poker face.
Yeah, poker face, but it's also more than that.
Okay.
It's about understanding betting patterns, knowing your position at the table,
Right.
even reading your opponent's body language.
So it's like you're a detective
You are a detective.
trying to figure out what cards everybody has.
Yes, you are putting together those clues.
And if you're good, if you can bluff effectively, you can win a pot even if you have the worst hand at the table.
Oh, wow, so it's risky.
It is risky. It is risky.
Yeah.
But even if you get caught sometimes, just the threat of a bluff can make your opponents more cautious.
I see.
So it can really affect the whole game.
That's incredible.
It is incredible.
It's a very psychological weapon.
Very much so. Very much so.
Okay, but with all this talk of winning and losing, I think we need to talk about something that's crucial for any poker player, especially beginners:
Yes.
bankroll management.
Bankroll management, it is super important whether you are playing for pennies with your friends or in high-stakes tournaments.
Yeah.
It's about protecting yourself financially so you can enjoy the game long-term.
So it's not about winning, it's about not losing everything
It's about not losing everything.
all at once.
That's right. Responsible poker means setting limits for yourself.
Oh.
You know, how much are you comfortable losing?
Right.
Choose games and buy in amounts that align with your skill level and budget.
So don't bet money you can't afford to lose.
Exactly, exactly. And just as importantly, remember that poker is a game of skill and luck.
Right.
There will be ups and downs.
It's about managing your expectations.
Exactly.
And being patient.
Exactly. It is. And that brings us to one final point before we wrap up this portion of our deep dive.
Okay.
Poker isn't just about the cards. It's about the people.
Oh, what do you mean?
The best poker players, they are also great observers of human behavior.
Interesting.
They're paying attention to their opponent's tells, their betting patterns, their reactions to certain cards. They understand that psychology plays a huge role in this game.
So it's not just about the math and the odds.
No, it is much more than that.
It's about the human element.
That human element.
The reading of people.
Yes, and that's what makes poker so much more than just a game.
Yeah, this has been a fantastic intro to the world of poker.
It has.
We covered so much. We talked about hand rankings, betting rounds, different variations, the art of the bluff, bankroll management.
You really hit it all.
But where do we go from here?
So now that we've laid the foundation, I think we can delve a little deeper into those strategic elements
Okay.
and explore how to really put this knowledge into action.
Sounds good to me. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll unpack even more of the secrets to success at the poker table.
Absolutely. Can't wait. Welcome back to Table Talk.
We are ready for more poker.
More poker.
We left off talking about bankroll management. That's so important.
It really is.
Really is.
It's so easy to get caught up in the excitement of the game, but, you got to protect yourself.
It's like we gave our listener the poker dictionary in part 1.
Yes.
Right? They know the words. They know the terms.
You got the lingo down.
But knowing the words is just the first step.
That's right. Now we got to help them use the words.
Yeah, exactly. Put that knowledge into action.
That's right. So let's talk about how to approach some common scenarios you might find yourself in at the poker table.
Perfect. I love that. So let's say I'm playing Texas. Hold'em.
Okay. Good choice.
Yeah.
It's a fun one.
Yeah. What are some of the key decisions I'm going to need to make during a hand?
So one of the first decisions you're going to be faced with is whether or not to even play your hand at all.
Okay.
That happens pre-flop,
Yeah.
when all you got are those 2 hole cards.
Right. So how do I decide what hands to play and what hands to fold?
That's a great question because you don't want to be throwing away good opportunities.
Right. Exactly.
But you also don't want to chase those bad hands and lose all your chips.
It's a balance.
It is a balance.
Yeah.
So as a beginner, it's generally a good idea to play strong hands, especially if you are in early position.
Okay. I was just going to ask, what does early position mean?
Great question. It just refers to where you are sitting in relation to the dealer.
Okay.
So the players to the left of the dealer, they act first in each betting round. So they are considered to be in early position.
Got it.
So those players in later position, they have an advantage of seeing how everybody else has acted before them.
So if I'm in early position, I want to be more selective with the hands I play.
That's a great strategy. You got it. You're getting it.
Okay, what kind of hands should I be looking for?
So pairs are always good,
Okay.
especially those high pairs, aces, kings, queens.
Okay.
Also look for hands with high cards that are suited, so like an ace, king of hearts.
Got it. Okay.
Those are good starting hands.
Those are strong.
Strong starting hands, yeah.
Okay, what if I'm dealt like a 2 and a 7? Different suits.
Ooh.
Should I just fold?
Yeah, in most cases, especially in early position, yes.
Especially in early position.
Fold it up.
Just fold it up.
Yeah, there's no need to play every hand.
Be patient.
Be patient. Wait for that good one.
Okay, makes sense. Now let's say I have a decent hand.
Okay.
I decide to play.
You're in the game.
I'm in the game. The flop comes.
Ooh, exciting.
Okay, so now what?
Now the real strategy kicks in.
Okay.
You've got more information to work with.
Okay.
You got to assess your hand, consider those community cards.
Oh my gosh, there's so much.
I know, right?
So it's not just about my cards anymore.
No.
It's about what everybody else has too.
That's right. That's where observation becomes super important.
Oh, that's interesting.
Pay attention to how your opponents were betting before the flop.
I see.
Were they aggressive?
Right.
Were they passive? Did they call? Did they raise? This can give you some clues about the strength of their hands.
So if they were betting big before the flop, and then all of a sudden they check on the flop.
Could be a sign of weakness.
Oh.
It might mean they missed the flop.
Oh.
Or they didn't connect with any of those community cards. Or it could be a trick. Maybe they're trying to trap you.
Right.
That's why reading players is so important in this game.
Wow. So much to think about, even just on the flop.
There is.
What about the turn in the river, those later betting rounds when more cards are revealed.
More cards, more information. Yeah. So those rounds are really about putting the pieces together.
Okay.
So you're constantly reevaluating your hand,
Right.
thinking about what everybody else could possibly have.
A mental workout.
Oh, yeah. It's a mental game.
Wow.
And just remember, it's okay to fold if you think you're beat.
Right. That's good advice. Don't got to be a hero.
No, you don't have to win every hand.
Yeah.
Save those chips for another opportunity.
I like that.
And speaking of opportunities,
Yeah.
we talked about bluffing earlier.
Yes. The bluff.
The bluff. So can you give me some examples of when it might be a good idea to bluff?
Yes. And how to do it effectively.
Right. So bluffing is all about convincing your opponents that you have a stronger hand than you actually do.
Right.
So one good time to bluff is if you think your opponent is weak.
Okay.
So if they've been checking a lot or seem hesitant to bet,
Right. Right.
maybe those community cards haven't really helped them out,
I see.
and you think they might be holding a weak hand,
Yeah.
this could be an opportunity for you.
A strike.
You can represent strength, bet, or raise, hoping that they'll fold and give you the pot.
So how do I bluff convincingly?
That's the question. It's not just about putting on a poker face.
Right.
It's really about betting patterns and consistency.
Yeah.
If you've been playing very conservatively all night and suddenly you come out with a big bet on a weak hand, your opponents are going to be suspicious.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So you need to be believable, right?
Gotta be believable.
Those bets got to make sense within the context of the hand and how you've been playing.
So a well-timed bluff can be very powerful,
It can be a very powerful weapon.
but don't overdo it.
Don't overdo it. If you bluff too often, people are going to catch on.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so bluffing is all about reading the situation, reading your opponents,
Yeah.
making that calculated risk.
There's a lot of psychology involved.
It's a lot of psychology.
Really interesting stuff.
A good poker player is also a good psychologist.
That's amazing.
You got to understand that people have tendencies, they make mistakes, they get influenced by emotions.
It's true. It's true.
All of that is factored into the game.
That's what makes it so complex.
Exactly.
This has been incredibly insightful. We've covered the basics of poker, the different variations, bluffing strategies, the psychological side.
We did it all.
But where do we go from here?
So there's still so much to discover in this world of poker.
Right.
So in the final part of this deep dive,
Where?
we are going to take a look at some famous poker moments, explore the ethical side of the game,
Ooh.
talk about some resources for those of you who want to learn more.
I'm ready. I'm ready to go all in.
All in, let's do it.
Welcome back to Table Talk. So
Oh.
we've talked about the rules. We've talked about the strategy.
All that good stuff.
Now I kind of want to see how this all plays out, like in the real world.
Oh, yeah. Well, one of the best ways to learn, I think, is to study those who have really mastered the game.
Yeah.
There are so many incredible poker moments and legendary players, that highlights that strategic brilliance, the
Mhm.
psychological warfare, and, sometimes just sheer luck
Yeah.
that make this game so captivating.
Give me some examples. Like, what are some of those unforgettable poker moments?
Okay, well, how about this? Go back to 2003. Chris Moneymaker.
I've heard that name.
Yeah, so he was an amateur accountant,
Wow.
turned a $39 online satellite tournament entry into a $2.5 million win at the World Series of Poker.
Wait, he turned $39
All you need is
into $2.5 million.
$2.5 million, yeah.
That's insane.
It's pretty good return on investment.
I'd say so. That's
It
amazing.
really is. It was a story that, captivated the world,
Yeah.
and it sparked what they call the poker boom,
Poker, bro.
where countless players were inspired to dream big and believe that anyone could achieve poker glory.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, what else? What are some other moments that stand out in poker history?
Well, if we're talking about legendary hands, you can't forget the 1988 World Series of Poker. Final hand between Johnny Chan and Eric Seidel.
Okay.
It was this back-and-forth battle
Intense.
that came down to a single tension-filled moment.
Oh my gosh.
Chan, who was known for his masterful writing abilities,
Okay.
managed to outsmart Seidel, winning the tournament and solidifying his place in poker history.
Yeah, I bet that was intense to watch.
It was.
Those moments that you're talking about, they really highlight that strategic depth,
Yes,
the psychological intensity of the game.
absolutely. And those are just two examples, right?
Yeah.
There are countless poker stories out there,
Right.
each one showcasing different aspects of the game, from calculated risks to gut instincts,
Wow.
from cunning bluffs to unbelievable lucky draws.
It's more than just a card game.
It really is.
That's that.
Poker's like a microcosm of life itself.
Oh, I like that.
We make decisions based on incomplete information.
Right.
We weigh those risks and rewards, trying to anticipate the actions of others, and
Yeah.
sometimes we just get lucky.
That's true. So if poker can teach us about life,
Mhm.
what are some of those valuable lessons?
Oh, there are so many.
Yeah.
But one of the most important, I think, is the power of observation.
Oh.
In poker, you have to pay attention to everything.
Yeah.
Your opponent's betting patterns, their body language, even their tone of voice.
Wow.
These subtle cues can reveal a lot about their hand and their intentions.
It's like a master class in reading people.
It really is, and this is a skill that translates beyond the poker table.
Right.
Being observant in life, it can help you understand people better,
Yeah.
make more informed decisions, navigate those social situations more effectively.
That makes sense. So what other valuable skills does poker teach us?
Well, I think it teaches us a lot about risk management.
Yep.
You have to carefully weigh the potential gains and losses before making a bet, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes, even with a strong hand,
Hmm.
it's wiser to fold and live to fight another day.
Yeah. So knowing when to hold back, when to be conservative is just as important as knowing when to go all in.
Absolutely, and that's true in poker and it's true in life.
That's true.
Not every opportunity is worth pursuing.
Right.
And sometimes the best decision is to walk away.
Okay. Are there any other life lessons we can take away from the poker table?
How about resilience?
Okay.
Even the best poker players experience losing streaks.
Yeah. That's got to be tough.
It is tough, but the key is to learn from those mistakes.
Right.
Adapt your strategy. Keep a positive mindset.
Yeah.
It's like that saying, it's not about how many times you get knocked down.
Right.
It's about how many times you get back up.
I love that.
It's very true. And that's true in poker. It's true in life.
Yeah. Challenges and setbacks are inevitable,
Absolutely.
but it's how we bounce back from those that really matters.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, this has been a truly insightful deep dive into the world of poker.
It had been.
We've explored the rules and the strategy, delved into those psychological complexities,
Yeah,
and uncovered some really valuable life lessons along the way.
we did. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you.
And remember, whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out,
Mm-hmm.
the most important thing is to have fun.
Yes.
Learn as you go, and always be willing to shuffle up and deal.
Great advice. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of poker.
It's been fun.
Until next time, remember, life, like poker, is a game of skill, strategy, and a little bit of luck.
Very true.
So play smart, stay observant, and never fold on your dreams.